If you put aside 25 cents every week for a year, what could you get at the end? A few cups of coffee, maybe? A candle? Or you could get a year of the best reporting from all over the world. Go to WashingtonPost.com/BF24 right now. You'll get a Washington Post subscription for 25 cents a week for your first year. This is a Black Friday sale, so it won't last long. WashingtonPost.com/BF24.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming!
To go in the half. Fox with it out front. Fakes a handoff, takes it right to the rim, and wow, what a dunk! Oh, brother! He came from about 12 feet out and threw it down with two hands. Without any doubt, he put it in. Rigsby throws into Fox. He'll throw up a 30-footer at the buzzer and hit it! Parker Fox knocked it down! And Minnesota will go into the locker room leading by 2.
Mike Grimm, play-by-play voice for Ski-U-Mah basketball and Ski-U-Mah football. And what we first heard was a dismantling single-handedly of Cleveland State by our friend Parker Fox, slamming down the middle of the key with the greatest of ease, and then canning a 30-footer right before halftime. And the Vox joins us now. Parker Fox, noted game changer, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, what a day. That was probably, in terms of production, his best game as a Gopher. It was a career high in minutes and points. I don't know if it was his most impactful game. He had some really impactful games late last year and games that were probably more important to get into the postseason, had the game-sealing and game-winning steal that set up the game-winning points at Butler in that first-round NIT game. But
yeah.
Parker was definitely he came to play. I went back and watched that dunk because I saw it, live, obviously called it.
You wanted to make sure the vertical was more than 18 inches?
I guessed it was about, you heard me say, I think from 12 feet out. I went back and watched it. I think I was pretty accurate with that. It had to be 10, 11, 12 feet out.
Yeah.
And then to jump off both feet from there?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 foot, usually, you get the Jordan from the free throw line off 1 foot with a full court length. He took 2 power dribbles off 2 feet, two-hand dunk.
Yep.
That was
You didn't know
impressive.
he could do it, did you?
Well, I've seen him jump, but to do it in a game, that was damned impressive.
Are you insinuating he should petition for the NBA All-Star Weekend Slam Dunk Contest?
He would bring some interest.
A new age D Brown on the Fan. Are you Orlando bound over Thanksgiving?
I am not.
Oh, really?
Tanner Hoops will get that assignment.
Well, what do you mean?
The
That's
Gophers,
a cool trip.
I would have loved to have gone, but the great.
Wait, Tanner Hoops, the guy I met at the minor league baseball game up north?
Yeah, he's the voice of the Sioux Falls Canaries.
Oh, wow, he's super cool.
He does Gopher volleyball here for us.
Yeah.
So he lives here.
Yeah.
And then he does our halftime show on the
I knew I
football
recognized
broadcast.
his
That
voice.
was him. But
Yes.
the Gopher football team, the Big Ten decided to make that a Black Friday game.
Oh,
So we're-
Scotty on a short week.
Scotty on a short week
That's
next
right.
week. So we travel to Wisconsin on Thanksgiving. Tanner will be in Orlando calling the Gophers play like at 11 o'clock on Thanksgiving.
Good.
Basketball.
I'll be listening
Then
to T-Hoops.
Yeah, football is at 11 on Friday. And basketball, I think it depends on if they win or lose what time they play on Friday.
Football, you say?
Crowd is going nuts right now. Talking defense here. Sideline going crazy. Quarterback Clifford waits for the snap with Brown next to him on 3rd down and 23. Has time, waiting, pressure comes, firing toward the end zone. Intercepted! Gophers got it! It's picked off by Jordan Howden in the end zone!
How about Jordan Howden? He struggled a little bit earlier in this game, but him to come up there on the...
Down memory lane we go.
Oh, man.
The first, second, or third most memorable Gophers football game you've called?
That's probably first.
I was thinking Outback Bowl, maybe.
Outback Bowl was good, but with everything on the line at that time, two teams are 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
Gophers were ranked, was it 11th or 12th?
13th. Into the game.
Penn State was 4th.
Yes, sir.
Sold out, maroon out. They had the gold Cub food, had the gold towel thing. It was pretty impressive. And then they controlled the game. I mean, it was almost an upset that it came down to that last play there that you just heard, because they were in control of that game. I think they led 31-17 at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Johnson had some big plays. Our guy Antoine Winfield Jr. with a couple of picks. Think about that in a big,
both inside the 10.
Yeah, what
Bateman had a 66 piece.
Bateman,
that was
the
beautiful.
first touchdown of the game. That's probably outside of the buffoons in the morning here who had me saying win a pie for it, which I didn't.
You did. You said win a pie for it.
Yeah, I said win a pie for it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and so I always joke with those dudes that I'm the only radio announcer in the country who's best known for saying something he never said.
Bullseye!
Bullseye. But anyway, outside of that one, the one
Well
that
timed.
people usually ask me about is the Bateman touchdown call, which is now 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago.
That was from 66, and he had the second most receiving yards in a game in the history of Gophers football. So now, from then to now, 13.5, 12.5 point dogs against James Franklin's team. If the Gophers were to win this weekend, how do you think they can do it?
Well, obviously you got to play well, right? I think this Penn State team is probably playing its best football of the year. They, had some, what I would say, mid-level opponents, middle of the schedule that they kind of snaked by.
Mm-hmm.
They're really putting it on people. They probably outplayed Ohio State for more minutes, but they lost that game 3 weeks ago. Then they've come out and they've pounded Washington and then pounded Purdue. Purdue is really struggling, so that was not a surprise last week. So the Gophers got to play well. That's the start. And then just strategically things, and any coach will tell you this, so I'm not feeding new information. They got to stay on schedule. That's become a big buzzword in the last half decade with coaches. You stay on schedule. And what does that mean? That means you want to stay out of 3rd and 6, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, 2nd and 9. How do you do that against a team that's really good? They've got Carter on the end, who might be a top 15 draft pick. They're amongst the best teams in the country against the run, because I think a lot of people would logistically say, oh, you want to stay on schedule, hand it off on first down, pick up your 3 or 4 yards, hand it off on second down, pick up your 2 or 3 yards, and now you've got a 3rd and manageable, or maybe you get a first down and you move on. Minnesota this year has gone much more to a short passing game, so how effective can that be? They're going to have to protect very well. They had some catastrophic pass protection issues late in that loss to Rutgers. After stringing together quite a few consecutive weeks of good pass protection, they just had some catastrophic things happen to them in that Rutgers game. So they got to shore that up, stay on schedule, and then make some plays within what you're doing. You can't hunt plays, right? I think if you start hunting, I want to make a big play, and now you're out of position, and all of a sudden on either side of the ball, it's no good. So just do your thing, but make plays when the opportunity's there to make it. Maybe you get a punt return, maybe you block a punt. Maybe there's a trick play. Who knows, right? But things are going to have to go your way. If you're a 12-point home dog, you're going to have a few things bounce your way.
The fan has learned the loss to Callie McManus was a total buzzkill.
Yeah.
Because it was a loss. But it also took a little luster off this one.
Agreed.
They can, okay, let's be spoilers and knock them out of the top 4 of the college football playoff bid. Or elevate ourselves to a bowl that's potentially not at Yankee Stadium or where Jared Goff plays.
Yeah.
Something like that. But, man, if they just had won that
You're right.
game box.
That's the most disappointing part of the loss, because Rutgers is pretty good. They put it on Maryland last week, too. And I know they were coming off 4 straight losses and all that stuff. Their bye week helped them, it looked like. They got a couple people healthy, but 2, it looked like and Schiano talked about it, their coach, that they just went back to basics and said, we got to simplify stuff. We got to just play defense. And they played much better defense against the Gophers than they had the previous few weeks. But to me, that happens, right? Teams sometimes just don't, for whatever reason, the matchups or a wrong break, a call here, a missed block there.
Yep.
It happens. You're going to lose a game. To me, the disappointing part is it was an eminently winnable game. You were favored on the road. Their best player was out. and you had a chance to get to 7 wins when everybody else behind you, at least on that day, was not going to get there. Iowa had been upset the night before at UCLA. Illinois was on bye. Those two had 6. You could have been, because 4 Big Ten teams are likely going to the playoffs. So what are you playing for? As you mentioned, pecking order. Let's get to Orlando. Let's get to Tampa. Easiest way, win games. You get to 7. You're the only team that week outside of the playoff teams that have 7 wins. Well, now guess what? You're at 6. You've got stuff to play for. The season's not over, but you got 6 wins. But so does Iowa. Illinois now has 7. They added a win last week. The winner of Wisconsin-Nebraska will have 6 at the end of this weekend. They play each other. Maryland's kind of hanging around. Rutgers is bowl eligible. So now you're fighting it out in a middle of muck where you could have, with a win on the road as a favorite, would have had a little separation there. And certainly a win this weekend puts you up the food chain a little bit. But that one that they let get away with a late turnover and some other mistakes at Rutgers, you're right. It was that's the disappointing part, is the opportunity was there to really cash a check, and they didn't.
Fox. Call a good one. I appreciate you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Mike Grimm at Mike Grimm 3 via the tweet machine, voice of Golden Gophers football and basketball. Kevin O'Connell is the voice of the Minnesota Vikings from a coaching standpoint. And with Vikes Bites, we have some KO cuts coming up on KFAN.
Black Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Vikes Bites.
What up? Welcome back, 9 to noon. Vikes Bites is always presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed, grass-fed beef. And you can shop online. A box of meat will show up at your doorstep. That's pretty awesome. And you can also go to Coburn's locations, local co-ops. They're proud sponsors. We just talked about the Maroon and Gold. They're proud sponsors of Gophers Athletics. It's a Clearwater, Minnesota company, so support local. And you know what? We support local as in our favorite pro football team, the Minnesota Vikings. And they are at Chicago this weekend. The head coach, Kevin O'Connell. I also have I have some KO cuts, but some QB cuts. Sam Darnold chatting with the media as well. But starting with the head coach, he says that that Bears defense, they salty.
Matt's always had a really good defense since he got there. And we're going to have to put it all together and with the special teams phase as well. And they've got some really good special teams phase guys that can change the game. So I really see it being a really tough test for our team. But one, I want to see our team attack through a good week of preparation and go have a complete team performance and try to get a win on the road in the NFC North.
Yeah, and that complete team performance, actually in my next KO cut, I do want to hit on that. But specifically to the defense, I've read a lot of respect for Mr. Eberflus's unit over there, the defense, where we have Van Ginkel, 8 sacks, Grenard, Jones, both have 7 sacks. We know about that.
I know where you're going here. I was thinking same thing.
Yeah, the linebackers have 3 apiece. Now, what's interesting is this is a true group effort on the Chicago side of things. 25 total sacks as a team. They have 14 different guys that have at least 1 sack. It's either is it Gervon or Jervon?
I think it's Nous regardons la télévision Gervon.
Gervon Dexter.
Actually, I don't know at this stage of the equation.
We'll find out. We'll have it ready for the boom at noon on Sunday. But he leads the team with 4. Montez Sweat 3.5.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Walker 2.5. Then Jacob Martin, Darrell Taylor, Chris Williams, 2 apiece. It takes a village in Chicago to get to the QBPA. What do you make of that defense?
Well, now. So what happens with it specifically at home? Well, Jalen Johnson has a couple of interceptions. He has 4 tackles for loss, which is a career high for him. So I'm quite curious what they're doing with old Jalen Johnson to get him in the backfield or behind the line of scrimmage. But
he doesn't have a sack, though.
Nope. The second-year Kane has an interception. And then you got like Elijah Hicks has 0 interceptions. Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles' husband, he has 0 interceptions. Josh Blackwell has 1. And so on. So does T.J. Edwards has 1. Tremaine Edmonds also has 1. Here's the point: is they're not rushing in a way where you have Byron Murphy Jr. with 4 and Van Ginkel with X amount. That they're not wreaking the havoc in a way that teams are desperately throwing it up for stupid interceptions. But they're forcing teams to throw the ball earlier than they want. So think Tsuyoshi Nishioka short hop terrorism. Donovan McNabb short hop. McNabb and Nishioka take catching strays here. They put teams in awkward positions, but then you look at the plus minus. When you brought this up earlier this week, it was one of the most astounding things I've heard all week.
They're +9.
I can't, and yeah, third in the end. I can't believe the Chicago Bears are +9 in the take give. Now, from a special team standpoint, they use DeAndre Carter as their kick and punt returner, and you always need to be wary of kick and punt returns at Soldier Field. The Con dropped Cordero Patterson yesterday. We know what Devin Hester can do. But sometimes they just come out of nowhere.
Boyle fakes a toss to the running back, gives it to Velus Jones Jr. on an end around. He
on
slips
offense.
A tackle at the 25.
Velus Jones Jr. is no longer on the Chicago Bears.
We had a highlight of the system of that?
Well, but see, it was an offensive play, but I thought he got us for
I saw you were over there cooking something up. Velus Jones Jr., they tried everything to make that thing work.
Yeah, let me see.
Boyle fakes a toss to the running back, gives it to Velus Jones Jr. on an end around. He slips a tackle at the 25. Inside the 10, far side. Touchdown Bears.
Oh, goodness.
Velus Jones Jr. has 2 touchdowns this season, one by land, one
season?
by air,
Yeah.
and they both come against the Minnesota Vikings. No flags on the field.
No, that was that last game of 2023 where Zadarius Smith got there late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my bad. I thought it was a special teams bit because
Tariq Cohen would get us. He had some good moments on special teams.
Well, it wasn't at Soldier Field, but I mean Devin Hester's HOF, the most memorable special teams moment the Bears had against us.
Oh, Bryce Callahan.
One of the ultimate gotchas.
Brilliant play.
You'll ever see in the history of gotcha plays, where they had Tariq Cohen on like the far right of the field.
Yeah.
And Bryce Callahan, a nickel corner, just hiding. And the punt goes up, and Cohen just with gyrations and histrionics, like, here it comes, here it comes. Everybody ran to him. It wasn't even close to him.
No.
It went to Bryce Callahan, who walked into the end zone.
So easy.
It was unbelievable. Let's see if we got that highlight. What's that?
Vikes Bites.
Ooh, in the system?
Yeah, let's see what it sounded like.
Man, that's pushing it back. That's probably what, 2018-ish maybe? 2017-ish?
Yeah, you're right.
Bryce Callahan stats. We go to PFR. Yeah, that would have been 20. Yeah, I don't think we have that in the system. I'm sorry.
No, we're good.
But we do have some KO cuts in the system. So the defense takes a village to get to the QB. The pressure, not a ton of blitzing. They play coverage.
Yeah.
And Jalen Johnson, very good. Can get into the backfield for some tackling. It'll be interesting to watch that. How about this, though? As I mentioned just moments ago, as part of that first clip, we are indeed looking for a complete team win this weekend.
I still believe a total complete team performance is out there for us, and that's what we're trying to work towards as we get into the really important part of the season, late November into December. Chance to take all the things we've learned about our team, try to keep improving and put it all together.
Oh, speaking of improvement, the quarterback, Sam Darnold, talking about improving his pocket presence. Is that part of a complete team win?
I feel a certain, pressure coming from a certain way, or feel like I need to escape or make a play, I'll do it within the confines of obviously the offense and not putting the ball at risk.
The reason I paired those two together, PA, in the essence of a complete team win, I think Sam Darnold had one of his best performances against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL with the Tennessee Titans this last weekend. One of his best overall performances as a Viking. The Bears in that front, we talked about it with the pass defense. Are there parallels that can be found from a patience perspective? Is there parallels that can be found in this game as we saw in Nashville where it might not be? And maybe if Jalen Johnson 1v1 on Justin Jefferson, if that truly is a thing, then Justin Jefferson, it's triple digits, it's 9-10 catches, it's him gallivanting into the end zone. There's going to be the gritty, and it's going
to be. I mean, unless Clay Martin and his staff don't officiate the game at the line of scrimmage in a way, I mean, that shades. I mean, Jalen Johnson. Do you think Jalen Johnson's a superstar?
I don't think he's a superstar. I think he's an above-average cornerback, yeah.
And Jefferson would be considered a superstar.
Certainly.
Who, he squawks. He'll squawk when he feels like he was fouled and he didn't get a call. But I don't ever remember Justin, having to be restrained like Brian Callahan guy.
No.
So Justin's respected by the stripes.
Yeah.
So if they call this fairly and shade it the way of, you know what, this is the National Football League. It's a money-making organization. A lot of people are paying a lot of money to watch this guy. So don't do that. If they call it fairly at the line, then Jalen Johnson cannot keep up with Justin Jefferson the entire game.
Right. So and it will be a lopsided problem.
That'll be a key. I don't know, when you watch it, I don't know who's doing the game. I would assume it's Fox. I just really, really hope that they give the viewing audience some isolations on these two. If Johnson's up at the line looking to mug him, I mean, that could really, really make for a fun scenario Sunday.
It could be a fun scenario, but statistically, this defense, I don't know, and without watching all of their games, how have they handled other moments thus far this season?
Against big-time receivers?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't think they didn't see Kupp or Puka, I don't think, in the Rams game. That was week 4. Mm-hmm. Commanders, you can probably single McLaurin and get away with it.
But McLaurin plays the other way. He looks to beat you up off the line and then get by you for the short intermediate and then run after.
Yeah, and then I don't know how they faced Marvin Harrison Jr. I can't put him in. They have not faced anything like what they're going to see this weekend.
Go on.
And so
what about Jaden Reed last week?
They have not faced anything like what they're going to see this weekend, PA.
Blake Moore catches a stray.
And so, therefore, it's just trying to put that in my head. And I love the bravado. If Jalen Johnson's on my team, I love, I'm going to go 1v1 with JJ. I'm going to go 1v1 with Jamar Chase. Yeah, that's cool in theory. But we watched a team that had to be, and we watched a quarterback in particular that had to be patient, that he had to be diverse in his pathways forward. 10 different guys had a target.
Yeah. Are you talking last week?
Last week. And I'm just trying to find parallels a little bit in terms of it could be that Florio, and as much as I love Florio, trying to say that the Vikings are boring to watch at this point. Mm-hmm. I can lean in on the idea that I want my favorite team to have some style points and some flair and beat on teams like the Titans and the Jaguars the way that the Lions did, and sadly we did not. But in the end, I look at the game that Sam Darnold played. That's a winning game for our team 9 times out of 10 when Darnold plays it the way he did, the mobility with his feet. The overall outlook of our squad is so good when Sam does things the way he did in Nashville, and I'm trying to find some parallels there maybe with what we'll see on Sunday.
I said this one time before about Aaron Jones, and I was wrong. And the Vikings are running the ball at a pretty high rate. It's I think it's still around 50-50 on the cut.
Highest of KO's tenure by far, yeah.
Absolutely. But if Josh Oliver plays, and Josh Oliver is up to speed with this ankle, I think Jones has a really big game, like a 140 or above, and Nacho's like he's going to have his longest rushing touchdown as a member of the Vikings. And I know why he's saying that, because Jaquan Brisker is the best safety for the Chicago Bears. He's a run. Just think Adrian Amos early in his career from right out of Penn State. Downhill, hard-hitting, high-end run-stopping safety.
Yeah.
Brisker's that. I think he also went to Penn State. But Brisker is out. All right, now.
Is he the one that Lavelle was talking about
Yes.
that's had serious concussion issues?
Yep.
Okay.
And they, from what I understand, and I'll probably put some time into it tonight, they're having some really, really significant tackling problems in the middle of the field when you get to the linebackers. Like Tremaine Edmonds, all right, the former Bill. I mean, he's long and rangy, arm stretch from Maui to Maine. His back pedal is terrific. He's wonderful in pass coverage. Maybe not the most interested in the world in mixing it up in the tackling game. Not terrible, but that's just not really his thing. Likewise for TJ Edwards, outside linebacker who used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they hit on an undrafted guy 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago, college free agent from Wisconsin, 57 Jack Sanborn. Sanborn wants to knock your head off, okay? But his pass coverage and he's not on the field in nickel. So it's going to be, I think the Vikings are going to look to throw a fair amount to set up, if Oliver plays, to set up things in the running game with Aaron Jones. And if Jones can weave his way for like 5 or 6 yards and then get on them safeties, you're going to get a 60 or a 70. You're going to get a long and he's loose from Aaron Jones in this game.
They give up 5 yards a clip, and they give up explosive runs in weird spots. A lot of people were giving them crap for. Did you see that 53-yard touchdown they gave up with like 10 seconds left in the half when they were at Arizona? Just disastrous moment for the Bears defense. I think we can run on them. I keep saying that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the near 50-50 bit.
Yeah.
What did the Vikings had, 39 yards from Aaron Jones. They put up $160 against the Jags.
Yep.
As part of that slog fest.
Right.
But couldn't get things moving against the Titans. I was a little surprised by that.
Well, I see, and with respect, I wasn't. And here's why. Because that Tavondre Sweat, I mean, O'Connell, listen to the road he went down talking about Tavondre Sweat Tuesday when we were at TCO. I mean,
how about Reisner's first start against him and Simmons? That's kind of crazy.
But there you go. It's still the same thing with our guy. It's with Dalton. When he's fully up to speed, and he'll be a lot better this week in certain situations than last game, his pass protection is really, really, really good. But now Ed Oliver, with all due respect, is a better run blocking guard than
Ed Ingram, either one.
Thank you. Ed Ingram, 3-2. Brandon Ingram is a really good run blocking guard. And he played in the Jacksonville game.
You can get a couple threes out of him a game too.
Absolutely, but when it comes to like Bradbury and Reisner, and trying to powerhouse up the middle, excuse me, that will be. However, next layer, the Bears within the last few games lost their best run-stopping defensive tackle, Andrew Billings. He's out for the year, I think.
Wow.
So we got a lot of minutia. We got a lot of minutia here.
Got some depth chart deep dives going.
Dexter Sr. is a 3-technique second year from Florida who is a wonderful pass rushing defensive tackle. They got a beef eater named Zach Pickens who they use in a lot of run situations. And I still haven't figured out who Byron Coward is. But we'll have that ready by Sunday. So and then you got Edmonds in the middle, and
he's coward, but he's not cowardly.
But Edmonds wants to pick you off and like a gazelle get to the end zone.
Right.
So even with Reisner, Bradbury, Brandell, that whole thing in the middle, I don't know. Maybe this is an offset eye left and right with CJ mashing on humanity, freeing things for Aaron Jones.
Well, I'd suggest a toss to the outside, but we see how that's gone.
Yeah, well, that's the last thing Darnold wants. 2 people drop it, and he's got like 11 fumbles, and 4 aren't his fault.
I'm taking L's for fumbles that I'm not even responsible for.
You talk about catching strays. That personifies catching a stray.
There are weird stats and weird moments, like the rule of, and people fight over it every time it happens. Mm-hmm. You're getting towards the end zone. You fumble into the end zone. It's a turnover and a touchback. People hate that.
I think it's stupid.
I think from a statistical standpoint, the equivalent of that would be charging a toss fumble to a QB, as long as the toss is within the radius.
Vikes Bites.
some KO cuts for you. Let's hear him talking about, I got 2 clips I'm going to play maybe back-to-back for you.
Yeah.
And it's about him loving, as in Kevin O'Connell, loving Caleb Williams.
Big fan of Caleb. Gotten to know him over the years and through the process when he was coming out. Immensely talented, both as a thrower, a pure thrower of the football, but his athletic ability, his ability to play outside the structure of a play. He's got the chance to, move the chains on every down, which is what really good quarterbacks in this league consistently demonstrate, and he's, well on his way to doing that.
And the key for that with me is, as I asked you and talked about earlier in the week, we can't undercount pure talent. We played audio from Brian Flores, all those sacks, and Ben's got Maple Grove Lock and Safe Lock of the Week is a high 5 of sacks, and he took like 15 of them in a 2-game stretch. Totally get it. But kid is super talented. Now, the new guy, Thomas Brown, calling the offense. He's got some stuff to work with there in Chicago.
I think Caleb with Komet and now Swift in the backfield, I mean, it's a pretty dynamic group of skill players for Thomas to work with, and I thought he did a really good job for a young quarterback, getting him some easy throws, getting the ball out of his hand, but still, allowing some of that freedom that Caleb is so special at to make some plays.
Now, here's me, the conspiracy theorist, PA, or at least if you listen to the head coach, he will tell you what you want to know or what you need to know. And he mentioned some weapons around Caleb Williams. He didn't mention Rome Odunze. He didn't mention DJ Moore. He mentioned their tight end and their running back.
Yeah.
And the thing with me is I'm trying to look, and I'm box score chasing. You've watched so much more of the Bears from a film standpoint than I have.
I think Odunze might lead them in receptions.
And I can actually
don't even worry about it.
No, I'm completely stuck.
Which would be dumb because it doesn't feel that way.
He's second in receptions with 34. It's still DJ Moore with 47.
Thank you.
But my point to this, their success
that was fast
hinges upon their ability to run the ball. So when we're talking about Caleb and the type of year that he's having or not having and all the inadequacies that are taking place, offensive line this and pouting receivers that, in the end, if they're moving the ball on the ground, they're having success. And they put up a $179, albeit in a loss. 70 of that $179 on the ground last week against the Packers, PA, was Caleb Williams himself. So as we keep talking about him getting down the field through the air, is there an element where Flores and company got to be concerned with how this new Thomas Brown bit's working? The combination, whether it's DeAndre Swift or the QB himself getting out, I think 9 carries might be the most attempts of running that Caleb's had in a game this season. I could probably find that shortly as well. But I'm kind of thinking if stopping the run hadn't been talked about all week, I think it should be into this weekend against the Bears.
Yeah, and that kind of takes care of itself at 74-4 a game, number 1 in the NFL. So first and foremost, they are very good at that. They've been good at that against run-first teams. And Bullard, Tillery, Phillips, Pace, Cashman, all of the constituents, the right names there are. Metellus playing close to the line. When the Bears run well, it's wide. They get Swift wide. He's a good one-cut back, makes one guy miss, and there he goes.
So old people need to tackle.
Right. Thus the pressure point at the beginning of the show. Now, would you like me to ruin your day first, or would you like me to make your day first?
I always like to end on a positive note, so if you can go ahead and just ruin it now, the breakdown to the build-up, I'd appreciate it.
Our referee and his staff this week.
Okay, Clay Martin you mentioned.
Yeah, I believe it's Clay. We had Clay one time earlier this year. It was against the Motor City Kitties, and we had 10 penalties against. Okay, we had 10 penalties against.
Awful game, yes.
Against the Kitties. Now,
even took the lead. We had a defensive touchdown. We still lost.
If indeed that is the guy, and I think it's the guy this week, here's what will make your day.
Okay.
The Martin crew calls the most offensive holding penalties of all of the 17 staffs.
Okay.
Which means... which side do you like it more? The team that never blitzes, trying to get to Sam the Man on the Fan, or the team that blitzes a ton and then sends 2 from the wide side under the cover of darkness, and you're caught off guard and you have to hold. Just
Vikes Bites.
Keep that in mind. This upcoming crew, I believe, number one or tied. I think they've called 32 offensive holdings this year. And the Bears will be more apt to hold to save than I believe the Vikings will.
Vikings 9-2. And that's Vikes Bites, brought to you by Thousand Hills, lifetime grazed, grass-fed beef.
A less than beefy segment around the corner, and we will pay off pressure points with just a couple of quick thoughts there, and get you ready for the Friday football feast tomorrow on KFAN.
Black Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Man. I can't wait.
Yep, we can't wait until tomorrow because it's Friday football feast time at Buffalo Wild Wings Lakeville. It's PA in charge. Chad Greenway, Alec Lewis from The Athletic will be there. Lavelli Neal III will be there at 11:30 for beating the Bears. And to close, pressure points provided by Sukup and Sukup.com. There, we went over Vikings-related pressure points atop the show, so podcast if you are so inclined. There are pressure points league-wide, too. First, it's these guys.
First and goal from 9. Goff up under center, turns, fakes the give to Jameer, throws, end zone, caught! Amon-Ra St. Brown, touchdown Detroit Lions! Goff with a dart, 14 is having a day, 16 is having a day, this whole team is having a day.
Can anybody score with the Lions? They've lost 2 very important defensive players for the year and are like, cool, watch this. Ready? And then they go out and run up 50s. Touchdown after touchdown. The Lions are at Indy and are favored by 7. Come on, Indy, put a pressure point on these Lions. The Philadelphia Eagles, if the 5-5 Rams lose at home to the 8-2 Eagles, pressure point of emphasis for the Rams, making the playoffs for KOC's former team is going to become a problem. We want the Rams to win because the Vikings should beat the Bears and go to 9-2. Getting these red hot birds to 8-3 with 6 to play could be key. And finally, there's pressure on these guys. 2nd and 10 from the Packers 37. Vikes lead by 9. Love back to pass, floats out to the right. He'll go short. Caught. Tucker Kraft at the 40. He dropped it. He did. Minnesota Vikings football. And that took place right in front of Matt LaFleur. Where's the most pressure here? Green Bay hosts San Francisco. The 49ers are last in their division. Like with the Rams dropping to 5-6, it's going to make it so difficult for next level Shanny to get to the postseason if they lose this game. And green and gold falling to 7-4 would make them 3-4 in the conference. Massive, massive game and a point of pressure coming up at Lambeau Field. Thank you, Sukup. Thank you, Sukup.com. Thank you for listening to 9 to Noon. I'm Paul Allen. Here's Nordo to put a wrap on the show.
Time for 2 more.
Just listen. Just listen.
The game is over.
Good stuff.
Time to go as the final bell rings. Eric from TD Tile asked me how I write these things. There's no mystique. I can pull the curtain back. Keep your distance, though, with that coffee breath. You need a tic-tac. It starts with the same old song, is in the exact same song, like 90 seconds long, and it's 16 lines. Some people call them bars, a little info mixed with some cheap hearty hars. But first, obligatory shot at the host, and then maybe a quip on a guest I love the most. I ain't trying to be a music star, I'm no Lieber, but I never drop the ball, unlike Ben Lieber. Now it's a Thursday, I will promote the feast and include a guy in the rap who likes it the least. As in Paul Charchian, he hates my rap, no cap, because I accuse him of things like loving assless chaps.
Chicago beer.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
I have a way to make your morning more efficient. You can get caught up on the news in about 7 minutes. That is my promise to you as the host of the 7 podcast from the Washington Post. And in that time, I will run down 7 stories. Everything from the most important headlines to fascinating new information you might miss otherwise. My name's Hannah Jewell. Go follow the 7 right now, wherever you're listening. And we will get you caught up.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming!